A radio host named Shannon Baker is recovering from a breakup with her ex-boyfriend Gavin and is trying to move on with her life while maintaining her successful morning radio show Love on the Air. She is a beloved personality known for discussing love and relationships with her audience. Shannon is encouraged by her producer Haley and her team to take a bold step by letting her audience nominate potential dates for her live on air as a fun segment to increase ratings and perhaps even help her find love again. While initially reluctant, Shannon agrees and begins meeting men submitted by her listeners, but most dates go nowhere. Meanwhile, Shannon is nominated for a prestigious broadcasting award and her producers believe the new dating segment could help her chances of winning as the show gains popularity and Shannon continues the dating experiment. She begins to bond with one listener's nomination, Dr. Ian, who seems thoughtful, caring, and genuinely interested in her. They share laughs, meals, and light-hearted conversations that gradually turn into something deeper. However, during this new romance, Gavin reappears in her life, claiming he moved back from New York not for a new job but because he wants a second chance with Shannon. Shannon remains conflicted about Gavin's return, especially when he calls into her show Live and confesses his true intentions. She firmly tells him that it is over and she is trying to move on, though she still feels emotionally tangled from her past with Gavin. She is determined to pursue a new path with Ian. However, not everything is as it seems. A disturbing encounter with a mysterious fan who acts obsessive and delivers cupcakes in her favorite color makes Shannon uneasy, although she brushes off the encounter. Things begin to escalate subtly and disturbingly. Soon after one of their dates, Ian disappears and Shannon receives a phone call from the police informing her that Ian was found dead by the side of the road in what appears to be a carjacking. Shannon is devastated not only by the loss of someone she was beginning to care about but by the timing and confusion surrounding his death. Haley and the rest of the team rally around her, offering support, but Shannon insists on returning to the air despite her grief, wanting to stay connected with her listeners. She resumes the show only to receive a chilling call from a male voice who tells her that Ian's death was no accident and that he killed Ian because he believed Shannon and he belonged together. The caller's identity remains unknown, but his familiarity with Shannon's personal life and his menacing tone send shockwaves through the studio and leave Shannon rattled and frightened. Now what began as a light-hearted journey toward new love has become a terrifying mystery involving obsession, murder, and danger. Shannon's life both on and off the air is threatened as she becomes the target of a deranged individual who believes he is entitled to her affection. The story transitions from a romantic journey into a psychological thriller where Shannon must rely on her inner strength and the people around her to uncover the truth and protect herself from a stalker who has already taken one life and may not stop until he has hers too. Despite the escalating danger, Shannon struggles with the decision to cancel her show. Her producer Franklin urges her to stop broadcasting to protect herself, but she feels torn between her passion for the show and her safety. As more clues surface, including a piece of evidence left on her car and a break-in at her home, Shannon begins to suspect Gavin may be behind the stalking. She also confides in her friend and co-worker Haley, who is deeply concerned for her safety and offers unwavering support. Shannon remains determined not to let fear rule her life and chooses to continue with the show and attend the prestigious broadcasters' dinner where she is a finalist for an award. As Shannon continues to broadcast live, a chilling call comes through on air from a man claiming to love her and promising to follow her until she loves him back. This deeply unsettles her and confirms that her stalker is still watching and listening. Despite police efforts, no fingerprints or solid evidence have been found. Natalie, an author and expert on stalking and toxic love, appears on Shannon's show to discuss how stalking is not about love but about power and control. Her insights resonate with Shannon, who begins to understand the full psychological scope of the threat against her. Determined not to be a victim, she continues to piece together possible connections, especially noticing that the stalking began when Gavin came back into her life. Meanwhile, the threats become more physical when an intruder breaks into Shannon's home. Though she escapes with minor injuries, the message is clear: she is not safe. Refusing to hide, Shannon still plans to attend the broadcasters' dinner, using it as an opportunity to reclaim her life. Franklin gives her a taser for protection, though she chooses not to carry it. Haley offers to secure it for her and continues to support her through everything. Shannon also reconnects with Natalie over coffee, where they discuss security practices and the nature of obsessive behavior. Natalie advises Shannon to reset all her passwords and be vigilant because most stalkers are people the victims know. The dinner becomes another moment of tension when Shannon, surrounded by supportive colleagues and peers, suddenly senses something is off. She starts to feel paranoid, thinking about how anyone in the room could be the stalker. Voices echo in her head as she questions what she sees and hears. Her instincts tell her someone dangerous is near. The story leaves the audience on edge as Shannon's growing awareness pushes her to confront her fear directly. She is no longer willing to be intimidated or controlled. The final moments hint at a confrontation as Shannon senses the stalker's presence and prepares herself for a reckoning, determined to face the threat head-on. Shannon arriving at her workplace, the radio station, where she encounters Gavin, who no longer works there but has been stalking her and causing her great distress. Shannon is terrified and accuses Gavin of being involved in the recent murder of Ian, whom she believes Gavin killed, but Gavin proves his innocence by showing her photos with timestamps confirming his alibi that he was at an engagement party during the time Ian died. Despite this, Shannon is shaken and confused, and the tension between her and Gavin is palpable. Meanwhile, Shannon confides in her friend Haley about the accusation she made against Gavin and expresses her embarrassment over the misunderstanding. Haley reassures her that Gavin likely does not blame her and encourages her to focus on getting through the stressful situation. Shannon agrees and remains at the station working late with Jaden, who is there to help her with a new promotional piece. However, things take a turn when Haley is shocked by an electrical shock from a board at the station and passes out. This incident raises alarms among the group, and Franklin decides to take Haley to the hospital against her protests. Shannon and Gavin have a tense but heartfelt conversation where Gavin apologizes for past mistakes, especially for leaving Shannon and causing arguments. He offers his support and promises to be there for her in any way possible, including staying by her side for protection. Shannon slowly begins to trust him again, and they share a moment of connection. Despite the danger, Shannon continues to feel watched and stalked, and this paranoia affects her deeply. Detective Wilson calls Shannon with an update that there was no forced entry at the studio, meaning the stalker must have had access and that the investigation is ongoing. Shannon feeds stray cats nearby and reveals to Gavin that she feels someone is watching her constantly and fears she is losing her mind. Gavin reassures her, telling her she is brave and that they both need a distraction from the tension. Shannon is touched by Gavin's sincerity and slowly opens up about her feelings. The plot thickens when Haley calls Shannon with shocking news that the police have captured the person stalking Shannon and that this individual has been linked by DNA to Ian's murder. They found a shrine dedicated to Shannon at the stalker's house, confirming his obsession. Shannon is overwhelmed but relieved to hear that the danger is supposedly over and that the culprit is in custody. Haley offers to come over to support Shannon, but Shannon declines, wanting to process the news alone. Shannon and Gavin tentatively rekindle their relationship and decide to celebrate by cooking together. Shannon also receives recognition at work, winning the Radio Personality of the Year award, which she celebrates with Franklin. They laugh and enjoy the moment, but then Shannon receives a disturbing delivery of wine which she did not order and which turns out to be poison. She quickly realizes the poison was meant for her and not Gavin. The police are alerted and the investigation deepens. At the hospital, Shannon tries to stay with Gavin, but visiting rules prevent her from doing so, and she becomes increasingly worried. She learns that the poisoned wine and the stalker case are connected and begins to doubt if the man in custody is truly the guilty party. Franklin tries to comfort Shannon, but it becomes clear that something darker is at play. In a dramatic turn, Shannon calls Detective Wilson to inform her that the bottle of poisoned wine means the wrong man is in custody and the true killer is still out there. Suspense builds as the true antagonist is revealed to be Franklin, the very person close to Shannon who promised her support but harbored deadly intentions. The man behind the stalking and murder was not Gavin or the captured stalker, but Franklin himself, who is obsessed with Shannon and willing to kill to have her. Haley confronts Shannon at the studio, revealing her own twisted motives. She confesses that she was jealous of Shannon and Gavin and orchestrated much of the chaos to take over Shannon's life and win Gavin's love. Haley admits to fabricating the stalking claims, the calls, and even Ian's death to manipulate everyone and get ahead in her career and love life. Franklin betrayed Shannon and teamed with Haley in a deadly plan to frame others and eliminate obstacles. In a climactic struggle, Shannon fights to survive as the truth unravels and the conspirators are exposed. Police arrive just in time to arrest Haley and Franklin, ending their reign of terror. Shannon is finally safe and free from the constant fear and paranoia that haunted her. She returns to the airwaves, hosting her show Love on the Air, where she shares her journey and newfound happiness, rekindling her romance with Gavin and moving forward with hope and love despite the trauma she endured. The story explores themes of trust, betrayal, obsession, and the power of resilience in the face of danger. It highlights how appearances can deceive and how true villains can hide in plain sight while those who seem guilty may be innocent. Shannon's strength to confront her fears and uncover the truth restores her life and love and brings justice to those who wronged her. If you enjoy watching this video, then subscribe to Angel Recaps for the latest movies explanation.